Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I really wanted to express my opinions about a particular book series where the fourth book is being made into a movie this year, and it's a very controversial series, I believe, just because I've actually read a lot of really good reviews about it. It was a Wattpad original. If you haven't guessed yet, I am talking about the After series. Give you a little preview of my books. Look, they have their own shelf because they're pretty coloured, and I didn't know where else to put them. I didn't want to separate the series. Look, sorry, I can't sit still. I've had like 3 coffees today and they've hit me. I had one like half an hour ago, so that doesn't help. So today I wanted to just tell you guys my thoughts, my opinions on the After series before the new movie comes out, and then about my opinion on the movie versus the books. So let's get started. If you don't know, the After series follow Tessa and Harden, 2 characters who were based off of 2 people that I love so much. And it was off to a good start. It had so much, for a Wattpad story, I will say it is a great story. It is written pretty well for what it is, and it really does suck you in. But the storyline, that is something that I cannot get past. And I remember when they said that they were turning it into a movie, I was really hesitant. I had so many friends that were like, yes, After, it is the best, yay. But anybody who knows my opinions on it, when I first read it, I actually threw the book across the room, and I personally would never take my emotions out on a book. It is very triggering. It's another series that I think should have a trigger warning. Plain as day, Harden is a manipulator, especially in the first book. He is horrible. He is toxic, like more toxic than most other book series that I have read. And I remember just seeing, when I first started reading the series, not on Wattpad, but when the book first came out and I was on social media more, I remember seeing a lot of people gloating about reading it and going, oh yes, like I love the After series, I love Harden, I wish Harden was my book boyfriend. And I was reading the book at the time, and I remember thinking, like, why do you think it's so little of yourself that you would be okay with dating someone who treats you like that? I will say the whole story is written amazingly. Like, Anna Todd did an incredible job, and the characters are really good characters in a sense that you are agitated at them, you do feel for them at times, so it's not like you feel like you can't relate to them. There's no depth to the characters. They're not 2D characters at all. And the book itself is not just basic. It is very interesting. It's got a great plot and great characters. I just don't think it is worth 5 stars. I'm pretty sure on my Goodreads I rated all 3 books maybe 3 stars. I did really want to rate them 2 stars because of the characters themselves, but not because of Anna's writing, which is why I did go for the 3 stars at the end. So I remember, in the first book, I just could not understand Tessa's interest in Harden. I could not understand everybody who was reading its obsession with him. And by the end of the first book, I was ready to be done with this series, especially given that I knew there were 3 more books based on their story, and that obviously it'd keep going. I was like, I'm not okay with this. No girl deserves to be treated like that. No person deserves to be treated like that. And then we go through book 2. Also, side note, the way she treats her boyfriend at the start as well, I was like, I can forgive this for now, because many of us as teenagers do stupid shit all the time. And relationships are a hard web to go through when you're still trying to figure out who you are as a person. So I was like, I can brush this under the rug. However, book 2 came along, and I did not like Tessa in book 2 for the most part. For the start I did, and then by the end I did not like her, and by the 3rd book I remember thinking that she was just as bad as Hardin, if not worse. Although she wasn't horrible and toxic, she messed with him mentally and emotionally, and I think that is just the most toxic relationship I have ever read. And seeing people glorify it and say how much they loved it and that they want that relationship, they wish they were Tessa, it wasn't something that I personally understood. And I remember thinking by the 4th book, the way it ended was a little bit disappointing, but it was also smart. I was happy that it ended the way it did. It was a letdown in a sense, but I was glad it did end the way it did. I think throughout the series, Hardin definitely had a lot of character growth. And if you read the 1st book and the last book, you can see how much he has changed. But when it came to Tessa, I didn't feel that way. And look, let's all be honest, the real MVP of this series was Landon. He held that series up. He was like top tier. He was my favorite character, not my favorite side character, my favorite character. He was probably the only reason I continued finishing the book. So then I remember being told that the movie was coming out, and a few of my girlfriends were like, yes, like so excited. And I was like, okay, like this will be interesting to see it. And then I watched the first movie, and it was great. It was really great. Also, they cast that perfectly, can I just say, like, chef's kiss. But, and I understand why they left out a lot of the main plot parts that they did from the movie, but again, it had people going, I love Hardin, I want Hardin as a boyfriend, like why can't my boyfriend be like that? I wish I was Tessa. And again, it was like not as bad in the movie. He wasn't as controlling, as manipulative, as abusive mentally in the movie, wow, as he was in the book. However, it was still present, and it was not something that I was really loving. Just glorifying that. Nobody should glorify manipulative. I say this after saying that Jodie Ellen Malpass is my favourite author. However, although the men in her story were a little bit stalkerish, I feel like they still had boundaries, and there were some things that they would not do that the books in after did. I really can't. And I've seen every other movie since, from the film, the franchise, from the franchise. But I'll still watch the last one, and I'll finish it off. And this is why I also finished off the full 4 books of the series. I haven't actually, I don't know if you can see, I haven't got the 5th one yet. I really should, but I haven't yet. And I'm not someone who does not finish things. If I start something, I will finish it. So that is why I did finish the 4 books. Would I ever do a reread? No, I would not. Would I recommend my sister to read it? No, I would not. Although she's got a good head on her, I just feel like it is easy to get infatuated with stories like this and then to accept that behaviour and allow it. And that is a huge reason why I do not like this series. However, I do love the acting in the movie, and like I said, I think they cast the cast. They cast the characters, the actors, really well. Josephine Langford is brilliant, fellow Aussie, brilliant. So I definitely couldn't fault that to a T. And do you know what? They made it work so well. So I am excited to see the fourth movie, just to see them in it, not for the storyline at all. And you know, like I said from the get-go, Anna Todd's writing is superb. I love her writing, her style. For the most part, it's easy to read. When there were certain scenes in there that I did not like, I really struggled to read them. But otherwise, it's a really nice read. I'd love to read more of her work and see what that's like without it being tarnished by this series. But look, I'm not saying any of this to stop anybody from reading the series. I know so many people who love it, who have reread it quite many times. I also do know people that struggled to finish it for this reason of the relationship. And like I said, I see so many reviews that are like, yes, this is the best like series ever, and this is the best story, and these are the best characters, and so excited for the movie. A lot of hype, and I think it is unrealistic. I have seen the occasional negative comments about it, but like I said, the positive outweighs the negative from what I've seen online. So I really wanted to get my negative opinions out. Like I said, it's still really amazing writing. There are characters in it that are the best, like Landon's moral compass is incredible. Like, he is the best friend you want. He is the boyfriend you want. He is the son you want. He is literally such a good human. And I think he's been given a crap set of cards, being brother-in-law, half-brother, with Harden, being given a half-brother such as Harden. And even when he became friends with Tess, like, it looked like such a good friendship. And I do think the more that she spun into this negative headspace and did the things she did not appreciate Landon, and probably was not a good friend for him, and he didn't need her in his life. I think he deserves the better. I think he deserves the world. So like I said, I feel like he lifted the game for me. And even when we meet Kimberly, I loved her character. I thought she was pretty epic too. So there were some really great characters that were standouts for me. The plot twist that happens in the third book as well, it was great. It was enticing, like interesting. You were like, oh my god, I did not see this coming, and just want to keep reading it. However, yeah, I think it added to the trauma and the drama in a way that it didn't need to. I guess it did, because it kept the story going. And you know, every story does need like that climactic point. However, and I'm all for like fiction, roller coasters, crazy things happening that you wouldn't really see, but I think for me the biggest part was that people were trying to relate to it, and they shouldn't be. They shouldn't want someone who is going to do those sorts of things. No matter girl or boy, you deserve better. You should treat yourself better. And you should want better for yourself. So I do believe that was a big issue that I couldn't get past. This has turned into a huge, do you know what, I'm like, I want to review stuff and I want to like quote stuff and I want to get into the nitty-gritty of stuff, and then when I'm sitting here I go on tangents and I just ramble, and there's so much I want to say and I'm like struggling to get the words out. I've said this before, I probably say it every single video, but I probably need to write out like some dot points of what I'm going to say and then go from there. That might help me, instead of just like being like, oh yeah, I have a spare half an hour, I'm just going to sit down here and have a little bit of a chat and get my thoughts and feelings out. No, so someone actually tagged me in something the other day and it was like, oh, I think it was the final After movie was meant to be coming out in August, sometime around there, this year, but I think it's been delayed, don't quote me on that. And I was like, that's another book series that I have feelings about and I have thoughts about that I feel like need to be heard. Oh. Also, the other thing I'll say about the book to movies, and look, I really, really know that a lot of movies are not going to follow the book to the T, because books get out probably 3 movies worth of content and you can't do 3 movies per book. But does anyone else get really agitated when certain characters that were a big part of the plot in this book are not put into the movie, like Zed? That irked me so much. I was like, I couldn't understand why he wasn't a big part, and that the love triangle was more between Trevor, Hardin and Tessa, as opposed to Zed, Hardin and Tessa. Yeah, it's little things like that when like a bit of the plot that was a big part of the plot left out. I'm like, why? You could have left something else out and put that in. But also, I'm really glad that they didn't in the end anyway, because that was a big mind boggle situation. And given for someone who really did not like a lot of the male traits that were in this series, it was really great that they kind of just brushed that aside. And especially because Trevor, although not many people liked him and, you know, they wanted Tessa and Hardin to get together, Trevor was a nice guy. He set the standards underneath Landon for this series, so I was pretty happy that they kept him in at least. Alright, well, so obviously the whole series out of 5, I'd rate it 3 stars overall, and that is just because I want to give credit to Anna's writing, her creativity to come up with this, and her character development was really great. It's just the storyline I couldn't get past, and that's just my personal opinion. Everybody else is going to have a different one, so, and that is fine. Like I said, I've had friends that loved this series, and although I couldn't wholeheartedly understand why they loved it so much, I accepted it. Like, good on you. Find a book that speaks to your soul and love it. Just don't ever let me catch you in a relationship like that. But, and I had friends that hated it, so nobody else's opinion should determine your opinion on something, but just keep an open mind. Remember that it's fiction at the end of the day as well, and I hope if you read it, you do enjoy parts of it, and if not, then come and chat to me and we can just complain about it together, because I'm totally okay with that. So that wraps up today's episode. I hope you again liked my ranting. Maybe you didn't like this story, so now you feel like you have someone you can relate to and that you're not alone. Maybe you did love it and you want to have like a normal, unheated debate about it. I'm willing to have a conversation with anyone about why I don't like things and why they like things, and if anybody wants to pick my brain, I am all for that. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, night, morning, whenever you're watching this, week, weekend, and I will speak to you next time. Don't forget to give me a like, subscribe, leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time.